Hello and welcome. Tonight, after weeks of accusations and counter-accusations over sitting arrangement and alleged sexual harassment, Senate suspends Natasha Akpoti for 6 months for violating Senate rules. Bill for the establishment of an independent body for the registration, regulation and funding of political parties passes second reading at the House of Representatives. It's good news for the 774 young Nigerians participating in the National Health Fellows Program as President Bola Tinubu offers them automatic employment at the end of their tenure. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country's desire for peace is not at the expense of losing its identity.
And on business, the Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso says renovation of the National Theatre is set to unlock $25 billion in Nigeria's creative industry.
On sports news tonight, Scottish club side Rangers pick vital away win at Fenerbahce, while Manchester United gets draw away at Real Sociedad in the first leg of the Europa League last 16 clash.
From the nation's capital, no country can truly develop without a strong and efficient civil service. That's according to former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo.
Just yesterday, the country witnessed the drama that unfolded at the Red Chamber over allegations of sexual harassment and abuse of office by Senator Natasha Akpoti against the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. Well, today, after weeks of accusations and indeed counter-accusations, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's colleagues have made their position known, and the Senate has suspended the senator representing Kogi Central for 6 months, effective from Thursday, March the 6th this year. This follows the submission and consideration of a report by the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Code of Conduct, which cited her for total violation of the Senate rules. Our National Assembly correspondent, Gloria Umezoke, reports.
The dust had hardly settled from the dramatic scenes recorded in the National Assembly on Wednesday, when it seemed there was a repeat performance by Thursday, when the Senate President arrived for plenary. Once again, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan refused to stand, defying Senate protocol for presiding officers. At the start of plenary, tensions rose slightly as the Senate Chief Whip called out the Kogi lawmaker for repeatedly violating the rules.
I have to send one of the sergeant-at-arms to her that her conduct is in breach of this rule. So I am urging the indulgence of Senator Natasha to please observe our rules.
Armed with another document, the Kogi lawmaker seeks permission to resubmit a petition alleging sexual harassment against the Senate President, which was dismissed on Wednesday for procedural irregularities. This time it is signed by her constituents.
And the petition is against the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, for sexual harassment, abuses of office, and malicious obstruction of legislative functions of distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. So with your kind permission, may I please lay this petition?
Is there any legal impediment? Please proceed to lay the petition.
Shortly after, the Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions submits its report detailing its investigation into Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan's unparliamentary conduct during plenary on January 20, among others.
That all efforts to get Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to move to her newly assigned seat fell on deaf ears as Senator Natasha Uduaghan-Akpoti continued shouting on top of her voice and pointing her fingers at the presiding officer.
Recommendations contained in the no less than 6-page report read by the chairman include a 6-month suspension. Lawmakers immediately launch a debate into the findings.
If you follow the sequence, issues of discrimination cannot be proven. It is actually the opposite, that under your leadership, distinguished Senator Mrs. Uduaghan can claim victimization based on facts.
Today, we are faced
with this situation that we all know impinges on the integrity of this institution, we want to ask if it is convenient for the Senate and Mr. President that the 6 months punishment for suspension be reduced to 3 months.
My advice and appeal to her will be that she spends her period of suspension to read and learn our rules very well.
Prayer 1. Yes. That the Senate do suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan for 6 months for a total violation of the Senate Standing Rules 2023 as amended for bringing the presiding officer and the entire Nigerian Senate in general to public opprobrium. With effect from 6th day of March 2025 from all legislative activities forward. Those in support of prayer 3 say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Contrary to the majority decision, the Senate President rules in favor of leniency if a written apology emerges.
Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan shall submit a written apology to the Senate before any reconsideration by the Nigerian Senate. Those in support of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. No. The ayes have it. For the duration of her suspension, she cannot come or be seen within the vicinity of the National Assembly.
Following the ruling, Senator Akpoti Uduaghan is escorted out of the chamber by the Sergeant-at-Arms, but not without a reaction, breaching one more rule before her exit.
This injustice will not be sustained. The pursuit for justice.
A total number of 30 members of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions endorsed the recommendations that has led to the eventual suspension of Senator Akpoti Uduaghan, who was sworn in 16 months ago. This would be the third suspension under the 10th Assembly. It is now unclear whether the senator would tender a written apology to her colleagues or not. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
To the Green Chamber, and a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of an independent authority for the registration, regulation and funding of political parties in Nigeria has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill seeks to establish a dispute tribunal, regulate funding of political parties and utilization of the funds. Meanwhile, the House has passed a resolution to investigate take-off grants, bailout funds and interventions given to ministries, departments and agencies from 2015 till date. Our National Assembly correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
It's been a light week in the House of Representatives as lawmakers assemble for the final plenary session of the week.
This matter be seen as
a motion of urgent national importance is presented by the minority leader, drawing attention to allegations of diversion of public funds.
The House recognizes that over the years, the government has allocated take-off grants, intervention funds to existing and newly established agencies and institutions to support their foundational operations, as well as bailout funds to various agencies designed to facilitate specific services and settle outstanding liabilities. The House is worried that the persistent allegations of the diversion and mismanagement of these funds, as well as the potential failure to utilize them for their intended purposes.
The House resolves to investigate take-off grants, bailout funds, and interventions given to ministries, departments, and agencies from 2015 till date.
Those against you say nay. That is of it.
Another issue before the House is a bill which is sponsored by the Speaker of the House and another lawmaker, Honorable Marcus Onobum, seeking, among other things, to regulate funding of political parties.
In accordance with the provision of the bill, the registrar of political parties established under clause 29 of this bill shall oversee the registration of political parties merger, political parties dispute tribunal, which shall determine dispute between members of political parties and a political party.
Honorable Solomon Bob, however, fears that the bill seems to be in conflict with the Electoral Act.
A lot of the aspirational principles it seeks to achieve dispute within parties and members and between members and parties.
tribunal, and things like that. These aspirations, in my view, are already captured within certain frameworks, both by electoral acts and the Constitution.
Bills are debated for and bills are taken for public hearing so that areas of defects, areas that they need to be improved upon can be done. So I think we can still go ahead and put the question. If there are other reservations concerning the bill, we will be able to do justice to it during the public hearing. So those in support of this bill go for second reading, say aye. Those against, you say nay. The ayes have it.
Similarly, a constitutional amendment bill for establishment of a National Local Government Electoral Commission as an independent body has been read for the first time in the House. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Cherry news in the health sector. President Bola Tinubu has offered automatic employment to 774 young Nigerians who participated in the National Health Fellows Program after their one-year tenure. The president made this announcement during the launch of the National Health Fellows Program in Abuja, a key initiative under the president's renewed hope agenda to revitalize Nigeria's primary health care system. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
In a grand ceremony held at the banquet hall of the State House, President Bola Tinubu, flanked by the coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, and other top government officials, gathered for the launch of the National Health Fellows Program, a flagship initiative aimed at revitalizing Nigeria's primary health care system. Some of the dignitaries in attendance include 7 ministers, National Assembly members, the Olu of Wari, Ogami Atuwashi III, among others. The program, which seeks to deploy 774 young fellows to monitor primary healthcare centers, PHCs, across all 774 local government areas, is designed to drive meaningful change with innovation in the health sector. The hall is populated by health fellows, and the coordinating Minister for Health and Social Welfare wishes that the beneficiaries will be given automatic employment.
And this 774 National Health Fellows are key agents. They are the social accountability agents to ensure that we build further on the momentum to recreate, to renew the Nigerian health sector. May I plead on behalf of all of them, Your Excellency, that at the end of their fellowship program, if we encourage the federal government, federal civil service, and the state civil service to give them some priority consideration.
The program is hailed as a game changer in primary health care across the 774 local government to revolutionize the delivery of quality healthcare services to grassroots communities.
And what is happening here today is one aspect of His Excellency's Mr. President's preparation of young Nigerians for the world. Today, it is empowering people to provide services in the health sector to their communities.
I want to pledge to all of you today that where it concerns me and my fellow traditional rulers across this country, that we will provide a safe environment and give good counsel and support to the fellows on their leadership journeys.
As President Tinubu makes his way to the podium, the fellows are eager for some good news. Before delivering the news, the president commenced the initiative.
This administration has championed the National Health Fellowship Program. We are very proud of this. A rigorous and transparent initiative to select some of our most talented young minds from a competitive pool of over 300,000 applicants.
In a move that sparks excitement among the fellows, the president makes an announcement.
The coordinating minister and the champion of this program has requested for an approval. Minister of Finance coordinating economy is here also. So for that, you are hired.
As the National Health Fellows Program takes off, expectations are high that it will mark a turning point in Nigeria's healthcare sector, leading to improved health outcomes. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, quizzes immediate past Minister for Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Ohane, for over alleged misappropriation of 138.4 million naira. Please on the scan. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasted live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. After weeks of accusations and counter-accusations over sit-in arrangements and alleged sexual harassment, Senate suspends Natasha Akpoti for 6 months for violating Senate rules. Bill for the establishment of an independent body for the registration, regulation and funding of political parties passes second reading at the House of Representatives. It's good news for the 774 young Nigerians participating in the National Health Fellows Program, as President Bola Tinubu offers them automatic employment at the end of their tenure. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country's desire for peace is not at the expense of losing its identity. Operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, have been quizzing a former Minister for Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Ohane, for her alleged roles in misappropriation, violation of procurement process and diversion of public funds to the tune of over 138 million naira in the course of disbursing the 2023 budgeted funds for the ministry. According to sources in the commission, she arrived at headquarters around 11 a.m. today, Thursday, and faced interrogators on her alleged involvement in the fraud. The EFCC says its investigations showed that funds donated for the funding of PBAT Cares for Women initiative were diverted for her self-enrichment. To the courts, Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court Abuja has adjourned the alleged money laundering instituted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to March the 7th for continuation of trial. At the resumed hearing, counsel for the EFCC, Kemi Pinheiro, the senior advocate of Nigeria, called on its witness on subpoena, Williams Abimbola. The subpoena, according to the prosecution, requested for the production of the statement of account of one Marcelina Njoku from January the 1st, 2019 to December the 31st, 2020. The witness confirmed that it was the request from the bank and adds that the certificate of compliance was also issued. Staying with the courts, a federal high court sitting in Lagos has ordered the final forfeiture of another $1.4 million linked to the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. Justice Olayinka Faji, in his ruling today, agreed with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission that the sum was proceeds of unlawful activities and must be forfeited to the federal government. Justice Faji had previously issued an interim forfeiture on May the 30th, 2024, before ruling today on the permanent forfeiture of the funds. So let's head to the nation's capital now, and Terry Kumi is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. The critical role played by the civil service cannot be overemphasized. And former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says it is impossible for any country to develop without effective and upstanding civil servants driving government policy diligently in a manner that will impact the citizens positively. Delivering the keynote address at the IG Public Leaders Program, an initiative of the IG Mokwede Foundation, the former Vice President commended the foundation for focusing on building the capacity for civil servants, who he describes as the engine room of the government. Our correspondent, Delio Moyeni, reports.
4 years ago, the Aigimokwede Foundation began the AIG Public Leaders Program to build capacity in civil servants who drive government policy.
Permanent Secretary within the Office of the Secretary.
The fourth set of graduates, known as Cohort 4, have undergone 6 months of intensive training on effective service delivery, good governance, and leadership grooming. The chairman of the foundation speaks on the motivation for the program.
We will not catch up unless and until each of us says, I have the power within me to do something that will make a big impact on Nigeria's future. And that is what this program is all about.
Delivering the keynote address, Nigeria's former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, is optimistic that initiatives like this will enhance the productivity of the civil service.
The Foundation's collaboration with the Blavatnik School of Government at the University of Oxford over the past 2 years has produced 4 cohorts, as we've heard, of exceptional public sector leaders. And these individuals have been equipped with world-class skills designed to tackle the complex and rapidly evolving challenges of governance today.
The scholars of Cohort 4 are admonished to put into practice all they have learned from the program.
This program represents a significant milestone in our collective effort to strengthen the public sector and build a core of competent, ethical, and forward-thinking leaders.
We say here today that we welcome you using some of the ideas that have come from this program. Only collectively can we address the issues, burning issues. It needs partnerships.
Some of the students also speak on the program.
What I'll be taking into the public service is we had lessons on integrity. We had lessons on optimization, efficiency in the public service and effectiveness, and that is what I'll be taking back to my organization.
Right now we're leaving this cohort, haven't seen evidence of the excellence that we bring to the table, haven't enriched our network, and haven't been invited to join a club of amazing, fantastic public servants like us.
The scholars are then inducted. Dili Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
For Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa is pledging the commitment of the armed forces of Nigeria to working with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger in spite of their withdrawal from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. General Musa gave the assurance in Abuja when he received a delegation of the Sahelian think tank from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, known as Alliance du Sahel. The defense chief who revealed this intention to visit Mali and Burkina Faso stressed the need for Nigeria and the Sahelian countries to work together to address terrorism, as he explains that whatever happens in the Sahel resonates with the country and vice versa.
Their presence here from the Sahelian countries shows that we're still united despite the challenges. And for all Africans, we must unite. The enemies we are dealing with are enemies that don't mean us well, especially in the Sahelian region. They have no respect for life, no respect for humanity, no respect for boundaries. And it is critical that we must work together to fight and defeat them. And I'm happy that we have our brothers from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and other countries here to come and see what we're doing with our disarmament program, with Operation Safe Corridor. And I'm glad that they are going through, we're discussing in details, and we understand and believe that things will only get better for us as Africans. My message is that the kinetic and the non-kinetic must go hand in hand, but the kinetic only provides 30% of the solution. The non-kinetic is basic. We must be able to have good governance within our countries, fairness, justice, equity. With that, our citizens will feel safe, will feel wanted, will have a sense of belonging. And it's only then that we can put hands together and work to ensure that we defeat all arms of criminality within our region.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has visited Zamfara State to commiserate with the state government and people over the January 11 airstrike in Dangebe community in Maradun local government area of the state. During his visit, Air Marshal Abubakar expressed deep regret over the tragic event and assured the public that the Nigerian Air Force has taken steps to prevent similar incidents in the future.
As part of his administration's commitment to infrastructural development, Governor Dauda Lawal embarked on an inspection tour of various projects across the state to evaluate the level of work done. One of the key sites visited was the Gusau International Airport, where the governor assessed the terminal and the 3.4-kilometer runway. Speaking to journalists, Governor Lawal explained that the airport is designed to enhance economic growth and connectivity in the region.
Based on what I've seen so far with regard to the construction of this international airport in Gusau, I've gone around with all of you. You've seen the terminal building, you've seen the local wing, as well as the international wing. From what they said, in the next 2 months, that building will be near completed.
The contractor is optimistic that the project will be completed within the stipulated time frame. The governor then proceeded to inspect several other projects, including the Rawaya Township Road, the renovation of the Ministry of Information and Culture, the construction of a new ultra-modern motor park, as well as the second component of the State Secretariat project, amongst others. At the end of the tour, Governor Lawal reiterated his commitment to delivering the dividends of democracy.
Whatever contract we have in place, things are going the way they should be. We've been to the airports, we've gone to the Ministry of Information, we've gone to the motor park, and we are now at the State Secretariat, where the civil servants reside. This is their offices. So I'm here also to see for myself how far. Is it going well? But so far from what I saw, things are fine.
The Zamfara International Airport and other infrastructural projects are expected to boost the state's economy by improving transportation, attracting investors, creating jobs, and enhancing trade activities.
Certainly we are. For example, this building you are seeing here, by the will of God, by the second week of April, the contractor will hand it over to the ministry.
The governor called on the people of the state to continue supporting his administration, assuring them of his unwavering dedication to transforming the state through impactful projects.
From Zamfara State, we head to Edo State, where Governor Monday Okpebholo has vowed to fish out the perpetrators of attacks on 7 camps in Ovia Southwest local government area in February, which led to the death of several persons and destruction of property. The governor disclosed this today during an assessment visit in company of government officials and heads of security agencies, including the Commander 4 Brigade Benin, to the affected camps of Madoiti, Eto, and neighboring communities.
It's a journey of hours for the governor of Edo State and his entourage, including the heads of some security agencies in the state, who have driven from Benin to the state capital to Madoiti community in the hinterlands of Ovia Southwest local government area.
Wait, that is not to wait.
Scenes of destruction greet the team, from burnt houses to charred remains of property, including household items and farm equipment, as well as cash crops. The governor's entourage proceeds to assess the situation in other camps within the area, and in Eto camp, a town hall is held. A leader of the community alleges that Madoiti and 6 camps were attacked in February, recording grave losses.
They just attack us because of our product. They have been doing it before. I arrest most of them to the DPO for Igubazoa, in which their father, they come to me that they want to settle that this thing will not continue again. But yet, they cannot stop it.
Another community member gives more insight into the issues and appeals for support.
Please, sir, we are part of you, sir. We are contribute for your economy here, sir. I want you people to, the governor and the authority to help us. Sir, I want to lead and beg you, sir. Help us, sir. Please, sir. Please, help us with the security for our people.
For the governor, the atrocious attack and killings will not go unpunished as he assures the community of justice.
We will go after them wherever hiding, even no matter what it is. We must make sure we bring them to book, and justice will prevail. Do not fight anybody. Maintain peace as you are maintaining it now. We will send you some relief materials, and we will still come here to work in this place so that you will feel the presence of the government in this land.
Belebu community is one of those Madoiti camp fingered in the incident. Another town hall is organized in the community, also in Ovia Southwest. One of the leaders tells their side of the story.
It is these cocoa stealers that the following morning went and revenge. So if someone says it is the whole Ijaw community, is telling lie.
The state government maintains its eyes remain on the area as it will continue to take necessary action to keep Edo State secure. Jessica Luguse, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso says renovation of the National Theatre is set to unlock $25 billion in Nigeria's creative industry. That's on Business News, so stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitments to fully implementing the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the China Media Group and the Nigerian public broadcasters at the last Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing. The minister stated this when he received the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Mr. Yu Dunai, who was on a courtesy visit to his office in Abuja. Mr. Idris says the agreements are designed to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the media and communications sector, thereby fostering deeper collaboration between Nigeria and China.
In this age where information can be useful and also dangerous at the same time, it is important that all countries respect right information that you give out to people. We know that China is very protective of its culture, of its economy, of its society, but of course also trying to reach out to the entire world. Nigeria, likewise, every country would want to have a deep-seated, mutually beneficial relationship with any country, and one of the ways that can be achieved is by sharing correct and accurate information. Misinformation, fake news, disinformation are a danger to the world. We want to work with China to fight fake news, to fight misinformation, and to promote the useful information that can help societies to grow and to also integrate with each other rather than divide us. So we want to also work with you to ensure that while information is very critical for democracy to thrive, it is also important that whatever information we're giving out is accurate, it is also patriotic, it is also beneficial to everyone.
And that's it from the nation's capital. Back to Ayo in Lagos for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Terry. In Lagos, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has handed over yet another network of roads in Agboiketu local council development area of the state. Governor Sanwo-Olu says the Demore, Agidi and Church Street roads will improve connectivity and serve as a link to several other adjoining communities in Agboiketu LCDA.
Demore Agidi network of roads is a strategic link between Ikorodu, Mile 12 axis and Alakpere, thereby providing seamless connectivity in both directions. The upgraded roads in Agboiketu Local Council Development Area is the latest road infrastructure delivered by the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and he is here alongside his deputy to hand over the project to the people.
Executive Council here present.
The State Special Advisor on Infrastructure gives a breakdown of Demore Agidi and Church Street network of roads.
It has a combined length of 2.3 kilometers
the project was divided into 2 sections for ease of execution. Demonstrate. A dual carriageway with semi-rigid pavement finish spans 1.6 kilometers with an average width of 15.1 meters. Its construction has alleviated chronic congestion, improved connectivity, and enhanced accessibility for business and residents.
Representatives of benefiting communities applaud the state government for developing Agboiketu Local Council Development Area and Kushofe Local Government Area of the state.
I want to appreciate the Lagos State government, whose contribution of this road is a testimony to the fulfillment of a stream's agenda.
Significant importance of this road is that it's completely going to decongest the traffic lock on Ikorodu Road.
The chairman of Agboiketu Local Council Development Area reels out the infrastructure projects completed under the current administration.
We have delivered major road infrastructure, including Aliu Street, Olaiton Shinuga, ensuring better connectivity for our people.
Governor Sanwo-Olu appeals to developers not to take advantage of the infrastructure development within the area by increasing house rent.
You can see that the community are taking advantage of this connectivity already, and businesses are beginning to improve. Please don't increase your house rent. Please don't increase your house rent because I've just done connectivity for you. We are not doing it so that you put the burden on your citizens, on your tenants. Please don't increase the house rent. The value of your house might have gone up, yes, because of this road connectivity, dual carriageway with street lights and the rest of it. But please, take it that this is our contribution to you. Don't put the burden on your tenants.
As the Lagos State government presents certificates of ownership to the community, residents of Agboiketu Local Council Development Area and Kushofe Local Government Area have been asked to take collective responsibility for the preservation of the roads by safeguarding it against all forms of vandalism.
Intense deliberations continued on ways of harnessing available resources for agriculture development within Nigeria and across Africa at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture in Ibadan, the Edo State capital. The engagement, which started on Monday, came to an end with far-reaching recommendations on ways to source funding, leverage on technology, and strengthen institutions with policies that can boost food security and environmental protection. Our correspondent, Bukola Orewo, reports.
The International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA Ibadan, has been a beehive of activities since Monday as it jointly hosts both national and diplomatic delegations with the Edo State government. Agriculture takes center stage, and this is hardly surprising as the continent of Africa may be confronted with existential threats if serious timely action is not taken to ensure food security.
We will not have
with an estimated population of about 1.4 billion African people, the high-powered panelists agree that solutions to Nigeria and Africa's problem must be homegrown, especially in the areas of policy and financing.
The resources will come. The way we structure our own funding and all of that is not the same as they do in the more advanced and developed countries. They've actually been in this situation maybe 100, 150 years ago. We are passing through, we can shorten the cycle, but we must definitely look inward.
His counterparts from Borno and Plateau states also share their experiences, especially on what needs to be done to reposition agriculture and the value chain.
The rain-fed farming is very important. Rainwater conservation, we're investing hugely in rainwater conservation, and conservation agriculture. Because irrigation entails a lot of things. You need to spend more to develop infrastructure.
What we have been doing is to try to resuscitate institutions, structures that had been set up over the years. Many would remember the agri-development program across the states in Nigeria. And I had about a staff strength of over 400 people doing nothing. And so what we have done is to try to revive the institutions, revive the structures, and provide leadership.
In his remarks, the president of Sierra Leone, Dr. Bio, says Africa would not be spending over $50 billion annually to import food if its leaders could leverage their political will, technology, and requisite funding to ensure food security on the continent.
Food security is not just about food security. It's about our economy, it's about health, it's about employment, it's about a lot of things. So, with the exception of a few countries like what has been done in Ethiopia, Rwanda, Tanzania, that have done a great deal as far as agriculture or food security is concerned, it's been difficult to get us at the highest levels to take agriculture seriously.
After the panel discussion at the IITA, Governor Makinde conducts the delegation round Fashola Farm Estate, as he adds that the success story of the Fashola Agribusiness Industrial Hub, which has been designated as Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone by the African Development Bank, AFDP, could be replicated in other states in Nigeria, as well as the West African sub-region as a whole. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
And now in Rivers, beg your pardon, now let's head to business news, and Will Ibong is standing by to give us the very latest. Will.
Thank you, Ayotunde. Welcome to Business News. Now, the Central Bank Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, says the ongoing renovation of the National Theatre in Lagos will help unlock Nigeria's $25 billion creative sector. He highlights the project as a model for public-private collaboration, setting a precedent for future initiatives in the industry. Mr. Cardoso stresses the need for collective responsibility in preserving the theatre's legacy, stating that it belongs to all Nigerians, not just the Bankers Committee. He also reveals that the renovation is only the first step in a broader plan to develop a creative industry ecosystem across Lagos. The CBN governor reaffirms the CBN's commitment to turning the city into a major creative hub that will drive economic growth and global recognition. Now, Bitcoin has surged 6.23% to reclaim the $92,000 mark, rebounding from a 24-hour low of $86,987. This comes amid mixed market sentiment, with analysts watching key resistance levels ahead of the highly anticipated U.S. crypto summit. The global crypto market cap also rose 4.89%, surpassing $3 trillion, fueling optimism among investors. However, despite the price recovery, trading volumes have dropped by 20.3% to $51.84 billion, reflecting caution in the market. The Fear and Greed Index remains at 30, indicating lingering uncertainty. While Bitcoin's rally is a positive sign for short-term traders, the decline in volume suggests a tentative approach from investors. Now, from Bitcoin to the equities market, the stock market recorded, the local stock market, the main recorded its first positive close for the week. Investors appear to be taking advantage of lower prices to bargain hunt. Laddie Williams tells us more.
It's another day, another Naira at the local boss, and today we finally have cherry picking with the local boss there, appreciating that's the All-Share Index 0.32%, but not enough to break back above that 107,000 level. Market cap still sitting pretty at 66 trillion Naira. Let's get a check on what's playing out with the sectors now that we track, and we see a recovery from the banking counter. That's been hammered all week. Same with the consumer goods counter. We're seeing recovery there, 0.78%. But the oil and gas counter remains marginally down today. So the top trades now, GTCO, Access, Zenith Bank, those were the top trades by volume today, all financial services. So from 3 days of losses, that was snapped today in the Thursday trading session, giving the bull the first appearance.
And that's it on business. It's back to you, Ayotunde.
Thank you, Will. Just before our international news, let's head to River State, where former Minister of Transportation, Dr. Abiy Sekibo, wants President Bola Tinubu to support Governor Siminalayi Fubara, describing the governor as a unifying force in Rivers politics. Dr. Sekibo was speaking at the commissioning of the Borikiri Fire Service Station, where Governor Fubara stated or restated his administration's commitment to ensuring public safety and delivering critical infrastructure.
We don't have any trouble. Rivers people are happy. And that is the most important thing. We are not interested whether those people who are commissioned to undermine us are unhappy. That is not our business. Our business is about Rivers State and Rivers people. So, like the commissioner said, we did not just put this just for the sake of glamour. You come here, see a painted house. Every facility that is required to have in a well-built fire facility, firefighting facility, is all in this place.
Sami Pusi is up next with our international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has thanked European leaders at a summit in Brussels hours after a Russian missile killed 4 people in his hometown. He displayed his gratitude for their support, saying, "During all of this period and last week, you stayed with us." The Brussels summit aims to boost support for Ukraine days after the US suspended military aid and intelligence sharing.
I want to thank all our European leaders, first of all, and for such signal strong support, discuss on strong support from the very beginning of the war, and what's been during all this period and last week. You stay with us, and of course from all the Ukrainians, from all our nations, big appreciation. We are very thankful that we are not alone, and these are not just words, we feel it.
Meanwhile, France's President Emmanuel Macron has warned that the continent is at a turning point in history. Nerves have grown increasingly frayed, with the Trump administration's overtures to Russian President Vladimir Putin leaving many in Europe concerned the continent would not be able to rely on US support for its security. Meanwhile, the US President Donald Trump has issued what he called a last warning to Hamas to release the hostages being held in Gaza. Hamas accused the US president of encouraging Israel to break the ceasefire deal currently in effect between the two sides. Trump's statement came just hours after the White House confirmed it was holding direct talks with Hamas over the remaining hostages. Washington has until now avoided direct engagement with the group, and there is a long-standing US policy against having direct contact with entities it lists as terrorist organizations.
These are ongoing talks and discussions. I am not going to detail them here. There are American lives at stake.
15 people in South Korea have been injured, 2 of them seriously, after a pair of fighter jets accidentally dropped 8 bombs in a civilian district on Thursday during a live-fire military exercise. The incident involved the Air Force KF-16 aircraft in the city of Pocheon near North Korea, which was part of routine drills held by South Korea to maintain combat readiness against potential attacks from the north. South Korea's Air Force said it was investigating the incident and apologized for the damage, adding it would provide compensation to those affected. An opposition spokesman has said the arrest of an army general from South Sudan's main opposition is a grave violation of the peace deal that ended a 5-year civil war. General Gabriel Duop Lam was arrested earlier this week along with senior officials of the Sudan People's Liberation Movement in opposition. The detainees are all allies of the vice president whose rift with President Salva Kiir sparked a devastating war in 2013. On Thursday morning, Machar's spokesperson said the SPLM-IO did not know how their officials were or where they were being held. Denmark's state-run postal service, PostNord, is to end all letter deliveries at the end of 2025, citing a 90% decline in letter volumes since the start of the century. The decision brings to an end 400 years of the company's letter service. Denmark's 1,500 post boxes will start to disappear from the start of June. Postal services across Europe are grappling with the decline in letter volumes. Germany's Deutsche Post said on Thursday it was axing 8,000 jobs in what it called a socially responsible manner.
Alkan, chief engineer on ops. Y'all select the landing. We're out the door.
And newly released footage shows the moment Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost became the first commercial spacecraft to successfully land on the moon. It touched down in the Mare Crisium Basin, located in the northeast quadrant of the moon on the 2nd of March. Blue Ghost left Earth on the 15th of January with the intention of exploring the Sea of Crises and is the latest collaboration between U.S. space agency NASA and private companies.
Now I'm just like on this high, I think. I don't think I'll ever come down.
What's it like being part of history?
It's incredible. I mean, to be the first successful commercial lander on the moon is wild.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Nigeria's Super Falcons remain the top-ranked women's football team in Africa and 36th in the world, following the latest FIFA Women's World Rankings released earlier today. The 9-time African champions have consistently held the 36th position since March 2024. South Africa dropped a spot but stay in second position on the continent, 54th in the world, and Morocco, Zambia and Ghana complete Africa's top 5. The USA and FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 champions Spain remain the top 2 nations. Germany follows on the 3rd. England and Japan are on 4th and 5th. Completing the top 10, we have Sweden, Canada, Brazil, Korea, DPR, and the Netherlands. To club football now, Manchester United drew 1-1 away to Real Sociedad in the first leg of their Europa League last 16 earlier today. Joshua Zexi drilled in from just outside the area to give United the lead on 57 minutes in St. Sebastian, but Mikel Oyarzabal leveled from the spot after Bruno Fernandes was punished for a handball. In other games, now Rangers recorded an impressive 3-1 win away to a Fenerbahce team coached by Jose Mourinho. Lyon also took a big stride towards the quarterfinals with a 3-1 victory at Romania's FCSB. And Tottenham Hotspur suffered a 1-0 loss away to Dutch side AZ Alkmaar. Spanish prosecutors have requested that the trial of Spain's ex-Football Federation chief, Luis Rubiales, for his first case on Jenny Hermoso be annulled and rerun, notably questioning the judge's impartiality. Spain's top criminal court last month found Rubiales guilty of sexual assault for the case and fined him $10,800, sparing him jail in a sentence considered lenient by feminist groups. The sentence fell short of the demands of prosecutors who had sought a total of 2.5 years in prison for Rubiales, 1 year for sexual assault, and 18 months for allegedly coercing Hermoso to downplay the case. That's sports. I am Kelly. Egiga is back to you today.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. The Senate today suspended Natasha Akpoti, the senator representing Kogi Central, for 6 months over misconduct. A suspension follows the recommendation of the Ethics Committee, which found her guilty of a violation of the Senate's rules. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. You have a good night.